Hello, it's Ren from Taurus Rising, back with you again for our weekly wellness reading with tarot. And congratulations, you got through Mercury retrograde because it ends today. So hopefully you're starting to feel a little more relief, and hopefully you've learned a lot and we're able to pause and kind of move slowly through this past Mercury retrograde. For me personally, it was relatively mild, nothing really big for me. I'm happy to report a couple of internet outages here and there, but other than that, I'm coming out unscathed. So I'm feeling good about that. I was thinking that we might use an old school kind of reading today. There's this, kind of traditional spread of past, present, future. And as I was really kind of meditating and thinking about what to do today, I thought that might be good. And so the question I'll pose is, what can I learn from myself, from my past, present, and future? And so that'll be our question that we're working with. What can I learn about my past, present, and future, and how to move forward? All right, so without any further ado, I'm going to shuffle and we'll pull some cards. Today, once again, I'm using the Radiant Rider-Waite Tarot deck. Right, shuffle. And now I'm going to lay out a nice little messy pile here. Okay, past, present, future. Okay, feeling called to this card for, interesting, past. Present, I'm feeling called towards this one right here. Oh, present, nice. And future. I'm thinking we're gonna do this one. Oh yes, another reverse. Very interesting. We have two major arcana cards and one minor arcana card. So I'm gonna go ahead and just just kind of show a full overview. Past, present, future. So we've got our Devil, Queen of Wands, and the Emperor. So these are our two major arcana cards. It's very interesting, but we'll get into that. So that's what I'm first noticing, is that there's major arcana cards, which mean more higher level karmic life lessons, life patterns, and also two reversed, which means they're kind of resistance, or blocks maybe. And yeah, so let's get into it now, card by card. So the Devil. So the Devil is really about, it's kind of about what the sort of shadowy aspects of humanity, addiction, codependency, things that chain you, that hold you back. So what can you learn from your past? Well, that you're, what's coming up for me is that you're able to conquer limitations or things that are holding you back. I particularly resonate with this card from just personal experience with those inner demons that hold you back. As you can see, there's the chains. There's a lot of kind of traditional symbolism in here, sort of like an Adam and Eve kind of thing here, from the Garden of Eden, that kind of, that story, that archetype. Um, and then obviously we've got the Devil, which is sort of, has become this symbol, this universal symbol for dark, the bad things, evil, if you will. And what I'm getting from this card is learning about limitations and maybe even contrast, like, oh wow, those things used to hold me back, and now I realize that those things don't have to hold me back anymore. And so maybe it's time to really do the contrast between your present and your past to see, hey, these things were holding me back. And also maybe a mindfulness around, where can these things creep in again? Where can these maybe limiting beliefs, stories, limited views about yourself, maybe negative views about yourself, the world, and others. Where are those creeping in? Where are you starting to see through that lens again, which is keeping your vision small? So, what can you learn from the past? Limitations is what I'm really going to use sort of a more overarching word for versus just like specific, addiction or codependency or things like demons, things like that. More limitations, perceived limitations, maybe the illusion of certain limitations. So, um, yeah, those sort of vulnerabilities, those limitations, that's something to learn from and to be mindful of not falling into those patterns. But also maybe highlighting how far you've come. Oh man, those things used to hold me back, and now they don't. So looking at that, the kind of the dark and light of this, the seeing the growth from the past, but also being mindful of how those things can creep in from the past. All right, and I'm going to take a sip of water. Okay, and then moving into our present card. What can we learn from the present? I've got the Queen of Wands. This is the second time she has popped up in a reading recently, because I think I pulled her either last week or the week before. This card always reminds me personally of a friend because she really likes sunflowers, and I find her very inspiring. So, for me personally, that speaks to this card, which is making me think overarchingly, like in your present, who are the people who are inspiring you, or maybe how are you inspiring you? What are the things that are motivating and inspiring you to keep moving forward? Like I've mentioned, I'm a huge fan of To Be Magnetic manifestation program, and they talk about expanders. Um, Check them out. So maybe, okay, where are you expanding, or where are the people who are expanding you and inspiring you? Um, and also, this card is also reversed, which means maybe there's some blocks or resistance. That's one interpretation of when cards are reversed. Um, where are you maybe putting off finding inspiration or acting on inspiration or acting on manifestation or when things you want to manifest? I say that because wands represent fire, which represents sort of manifestation, energy, passion. So, where are you maybe holding back on the things that light you up and that you're passionate about? Um, so, something to learn from the present of being mindful of putting action forward towards the things that inspire you, or spending time with things and people that inspire you. So, kind of going back to the overarching question, what can I learn from my past, present, future to move forward? Is being mindful of what inspires you and to um, be intentional about that. Maybe clocking those things that, oh, that person did that thing and that makes me motivated to continue my journey. Or maybe you have been procrastinating writing out your manifestation list or something like that, or anything related to passions, things that you're calling in, inspiration, things like that. Seeds, also, I'm thinking of seeds because we've got flowers here. Where are you needing to work on watering those seeds? All right, so that is our present card. And now moving on to our future. So, what can we learn from the future? Well, here's the thing, kind of about that. I guess the future hasn't happened yet, but thinking about what can you learn about perhaps maybe even this projected future self that you have, or like, what are you thinking about the future? Um, and like, what if you imagine what your future self would want, or what you want that to be? So thinking about that. So the Emperor, a major arcana card, is about boundaries and sort of institutions, kind of like traditional like institutions, boundaries, like rules, following rules. Um, and I guess what's coming up for me right now is like, where are you maybe what's your relationship to the rules and structures and things like templates of how you think things should be, are you projecting your future to in sort of a template that maybe is keeping things small, or keeping you limited, back to limitations, from the first card. So let's go back and kind of reflect on the overarching question, which is, what can I learn about my past, present, and future self? Thinking about rules, structures, templates, what templates are serving you and which ones aren't. And when I say template, I mean that, do you believe that, like, let's say with career, do I have to have a 9 to 5 job? Do I have to have a master's degree? Do I have to stay at the same job forever for 25 years? Like, what is like this sort of like template that you're following, like this blueprint, these rules that maybe you've learned? Um, and where are those in alignment for you as you work towards your future, as you imagine your future self? um, how do the rules hold you back or serve you? Maybe maybe these certain blueprints and structures and rules and institutions are in alignment for what you want. Like perhaps if you're someone who wants to go into academia, maybe you need to follow those sort of templates around being in that realm. um, I know this is kind of getting a little convoluted here, so to kind of summarize this card, more about when you think about your future self, um, how do the templates, blueprints, structures that inform that? And where do those serve and not serve your future self? All right, so to recap, this was a sort of traditional reading on the past, present, future. And the question we posed was, what can we learn about our past, present, future self? And the past was really looking at limitations, where, what limitations held you back, and maybe seeing your growth between now and back then, and where you've grown. Also being mindful of where those maybe habits or limitations and negative, limited views of yourself, others in the world are coming into play and not serving you. Present, really thinking about inspiration. Where are you inspired? Where are you acting on inspiration? Or maybe where are you maybe procrastinating? And really thinking about, okay, present self, who am I? Am I in alignment with what I want to be? And or do I need to act on some things that I've been putting off? Things that light me up, passions, manifestations, intentions. And then future self, thinking about, okay, when I'm thinking about blueprints, institutions, templates of what I believe, how a person is supposed to live, or have success, where do those templates, blueprints, kind of, ideas, where are those serving me or not serving me? So hopefully something that there resonates. If not, that's okay. Like I've said before, this is a collective reading. It's not an individual reading, so it may not all resonate. Take what you like. And if some of it doesn't resonate, no worries. If you like an individual reading with me, please book with me. You can go to my website or Instagram and reach out to me there. Thank you so much, y'all. I will see y'all next week for next week's weekly reading with tarot.